Okay, I'm going to show you how to post ears on a Doberman puppy. Reckon here is not quite 11 weeks. This will be his first wrap post-surgery. So he's had his ears unwrapped and left natural just so they can dry a little bit for 2 days. The first thing you want to do is take some rubbing alcohol and a little gauze. Go ahead and clean out the ears. Make sure that you get any oily residue, any of the dried up blood or crust. He still has a lot of crust since he's only 7 days post-surgery. Go ahead and clean the ears up. It'll help your tape stick better. And of course keep them nice and clean so we don't have any moisture in the ear itself before we start wrapping. What we're going to do is we're going to use tampons as posts. There's a lot of different ways you can make posts, but I've used these for years and it's very easy to do. And you get a nice round curve to the ear. So what I'm going to do is I have a post that's already made. And what I've done, I'm going to show you how I did that. You're going to take some duct tape and we're going to take our tampon. Now it's important, the tampons that you get, make sure you get the cardboard applicator. And I usually get the Super Plus. They were out of them at the store when I went the other day, so I just got the Super. But get the biggest ones you can because you'll get a nice round curve. If they're too small, the post size, it's going to be a tighter curl that you're going to get on your ear. And I like a little bit more of a natural roundness. So you're going to take your applicator here, and you're just going to go ahead and push the cotton part, not quite all the way to the end, but push it out about a good inch or so. And then we're going to take just some regular duct tape and see if we can get Reckon just to chew on his little bone a little bit while we do this. I'm going to take some duct tape and I split it down the middle, and I'm going to tape the cotton part to the applicator. Okay, and just go around that. And you don't need to cover the applicator or the cotton part all the way. I want to leave some of that to go in the ear. Then I'm going to go ahead and slide out this part, and I'm going to go ahead and tape that to itself so that it no longer will slide in and out. Okay, so you're going to tape basically the bottom cotton to the applicator and then tape the two pieces of the cardboard applicator to itself. Okay, so it'll make it longer. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take, again, duct tape, and I'm going to go ahead and tear off a big long piece, and then again I go ahead and rip it right down the middle. It's easier to work with, I've found. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do it backwards. So you're going to take the sticky part and have that up. Okay, so you're going to start down here where the right where the cotton is. Again, leave some of that cotton exposed, and you're going to wrap very tightly the tape onto itself and just kind of all the way up the post, and just use as much tape as you need. Take my other section that I ripped off, start where I ended, okay, and then I'm just going to wind it all the way up. I may need to get a little more tape. Okay, so I'm going to take off just a little bit more just so I can finish it. I want the entire applicator to have the sticky side of the tape out, except for the little bit of cotton that I have that's going to go down into the ear canal. Okay, and don't worry about the size, the height. Once you get it in, we're going to go ahead and cut it to size for your dog's ears. So just make it nice and long right now, okay, because you'd rather have your cardboard applicator, your post, too long that you can cut in size for your dog's ear height. Too short, you're going to have a curl over the top of it, and you're probably not going to want that. So now we have our posts. We have two posts, okay? We're going to go ahead. I'm going to get a little prepared here before I start. The kind of tape that I prefer, I've used a lot of different tapes over the years, and this by far is just the best. Go get some athletic. I've got two brands here. They're both the same type of tape. Sports tape, athletic tape. This stuff seems to work the best. Medical tapes, paper tapes, they tend to come off very easily, and I end up rewrapping more than I would like to. So just go ahead and get some of that athletic tape. So now we're going to go ahead I've already cleaned his ear. I'm gonna take one of these posts that has the sticky side out. I'm gonna lift his ear nice and tall, okay? And I'm gonna very gently just put that cotton part down in the ear canal, okay? And again, I wanna lift it, kind of get it snug. You don't need to jam it way down in there. You just wanna make sure that it's down right about here on the ear, on the inside, okay? That way it won't pop out. And then as you bring the ear up, okay, I kind of stick it to the tape, okay? So you can kind of see right now, it's already stuck to the ear, okay? Now, of course, if he shakes, he is going to want to shake this out because it feels weird and he's not used to it just yet. Very important, there's a little flap right here, okay? This natural flap wants to curl backwards. Let it. Do not tape it forward. You will get sores right here as the flap tries to correct itself. Let it flap naturally. Okay, we're going to tape around that. So, if you can see, I don't want this little flap right here on the inside of the ear to be forced to be around like that. Okay, he's not going to like that and it's going to cause some irritation. So I'm going to go ahead now, let that flap naturally be where it wants to. I'm going to start at the back, smooth that tape on. Very important, do not put your tape on tight, okay? You just want to put it on, kind of smooth it to the ear, and then we're going to continue to smooth all the way up as we move forward. Okay. I was going to put some gauze on them. I think I'll do that later, just to give them a little cushion, because I have other puppies here that right now think that these ear posts are fun to chew on, and I don't want the ears damaged. Now, you want to make sure that you completely cover your ear, but don't tape tightly. You just need it to stick. So you can always put more layers of tape, kind of smooth it to itself, but do not sit there and wrap tightly. You cut off circulation to the ear, you may lose your dog's ear, okay? So we just need it to stick. So you can see how much extra post I have. Okay, I'm gonna cut that off, and you're gonna do so carefully. You gotta know where your tip is for your actual ear. You don't wanna cut off the ear tip. So I usually stop taping right above the ear tip. I wanna make sure it's covered, and then I know I can just clip off that with scissors and make it look pretty. So now we're gonna do the same exact thing. We'll get some tape ready. Go ahead and get him. There you go, good boy. He already wants to hold this one up. Not that he can do so very well. So again, I'm gonna kind of tuck it down in. He says that feels kind of good. Tuck it down in, bring the ear up, and just kind of smooth it upward and let it stick to your post. Okay, so now it should be in place. It'll make it easier now for you to tape, because now you're just basically keeping him from shaking this post out. So again, make sure this little flap here on the inside of this ear, let it curl naturally, okay? So I usually start on the back. I'm gonna stick that to itself, and then just bring the tape around. It can be loose, the tape, because you're just gonna stick it to that sticky post anyway, okay? I can't stress enough not to tape tightly, because you are likely to cause permanent ear damage to your dog, okay? You can always put more layers on to make it harder for them to shake off. Don't do it tight, okay? All right, so now I have two posts, okay? You can see they're taller than I need. So I can go ahead, very carefully know where the back of your dog's ear is. Again, I stopped taping just above it. So I'm gonna cut right where my tape ends, because I know my dog's ear is below the tape. Okay, you cut that off, so now you have only what you need. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and tape them together. Let's get that sticky thing. We want to post them where they are straight up for now. Okay, I want them to be nice and parallel with each other. Okay. Later, if I'm having issues with ears standing, the way the muscles are developing, I can change how I post them if I need to correct them. If my dog naturally wants to pull his ears in really tight, then I actually will purposely post them out away from each other, not parallel, because then when you unwrap, the dog pulls them in perfect. If the dog naturally holds them out too far out like that, then I will actually post them in a little closer together, so when they're relaxed, they go back to normal. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and post them parallel. I don't know how he's going to hold his ears yet until we start wrapping them for the next few weeks. I am going to start in the back, usually, okay? And I want to just kind of put this tape, and I'm going to tape it to itself. I know, buddy. I know. I'm going to tape the tape to itself. I'm making a bridge, okay? So I've got one wrapped. You'd be a little more cooperative. Okay, so I've got just one wrapped right around the top of that post. And now I can bring this in as close as I need to. I'm going to lower your head so everybody can see. I can bring this in as close as I need to get it to the stance that I want, which right now I'm just looking for it to be parallel or as best I can. Try to make sure your height is the same. You want to make sure one ear is not taller than the other. I know it's easier for me to do this way. And we just wrap that bridge again around until I use all my tape. Good. Let's smooth it all down. That's just to hold the ears, okay, to where they're going to stay nice and straight up tall. So it looks like I pulled them in a little bit. Hello, let's look. There you go. And if I don't like how I did it, because my dog was wiggling, like Reckon is being a little wiggly, then you know what I do? I cut this bridge and I just restart my bridge over. So, and there's a lot of times where if I don't like it, I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to leave it because I'm lazy. It doesn't take very long. And right now, I actually think I don't like it. I'm going to fix it. I just cut it right in the middle. And we'll try again. It's just tape. And I would rather spend more money on tape than post my dog's ears incorrectly for a few days and start training them to stand in a way that I do not like. Okay? So, again, I'm going to start on one side because I just find it easier to get it started and find, hopefully, where the dog will be a little bit more cooperative. I usually try to be in the front, so I'm doing this for the camera. It's a little odd for me. And getting him to hold his head. I'm going to let those be a little bit further away than my original post. There we go. Okay, now let's see if I like that better. Okay, so they're not quite as close in together as they were when I first did that, which I like a little better, a little bit more relaxed stance, nice and parallel. Okay, let's get up here where you can see. Now you can use tape that is not quite as thick, or you can cut this in half and make your bridge not look quite as wide. That's fine. And then some people also do another bridge here at the base, and you would do it the same, okay? A lot of times it's not needed, but sometimes it is. I usually choose in the beginning to do the base up top, or I'm sorry, the bridge up top. But later, as the dog's ears have been wrapped several times, I might go ahead and put the bridge on the base of the head and leave this open. So, but for right now, we're going to leave it right there. Okay, so if you needed to put a little bit more padding on it, which I didn't do, I was going to, and I, out of habit, did not, you can use some vet wrap. And after you do your tape, you can put a little bit of vet wrap around it and kind of cushion it, and then just tape the bottom of your vet wrap to the tape so that doesn't slide off. But that's usually just if you have a dog who's banging his ears into things, another puppy that might be eating, kind of chewing on his ears, just to give him a little added protection, especially when they still have stitches in the ear and are healing. Once they're healed, it's not as big a deal. They don't really need the padding. It's just post-surgery. You kind of do a little bit of extra work. So I could have put some vet wrap around here before I did my bridge and then go ahead and do the bridge. And if you want to make it look pretty and kind of fancy it up, if you could have just done this with your bridge instead of using the sports tape. Now they have all these fancy duct tapes. So I've just got some paw print tape. This is just duct tape. You get whatever you like. And if you wanted, you could go ahead and say, I'm going to cover that bridge up. I know, there you go. Put a little style in it. I find too the duct tapes are nice and they kind of repel the water better. So, you know, when the puppies are possibly getting ears wet, splashing around, other puppies chewing on them, this is kind of nice to be able just to kind of coat your other tape, the sports tape. I know, hold on, I'm not done. With some duct tape. And I just kind of fold it over the bridge. Okay. And this part is not necessary, but, you know, again, you could use just the duct tape to form your bridge. Okay. Or you can just, again, cover it just to make it look fancy. I just did the sports tape. I had it in my hand, but I usually do use a lot of duct tape to cover the outer side. Sometimes after I do this, the sports tape, I'll actually cover it in some duct tape as well. Okay. Now, when you're going to cut this all off, you're going to leave this on for 3 to 5 days. You always kind of check the ears. You know, you want to smell the ears. If they start smelling pretty funky, you need to cut this off because, you know, heaven forbid you put the tape on too tight and look at this. You want some of that? You put the tape on too tight and you've got some necrotic tissue in there, okay? But they should not smell bad, your ears. So if your ears, the ears smell bad on your dog, we have a problem. You've got some kind of infection going on. You've put the tape on too tight. So you need to be very aware of the dog. And if you're nervous about it, then I would say put the wraps on and do them every other day. Typically, I will leave them on 3 to 5 days, take them off, let the dog's ears rest for 1 day where they're not wrapped at all, and then put them back up for another 3 to 5 days, okay? You have to be very careful with posting ears because you don't want to do any damage. You did a good job, Reckon. Yeah. All right, so now when you're going to take these off, really simply, I just usually cut the bridge first. It makes it easier. And I always use my scissors on the back of the ear. I never come in forward. I don't want to cut part of my ear because I don't know where it is under the tape. So I will always cut behind where I'm going to slide my scissors up back here. And you'll want to use scissors that have a rounded tip to do that, okay? So these have a pointy tip on one side and a rounded tip on the other, okay? So I would be putting this rounded portion of it up underneath the tape in the back so that I can cut. I don't want to jam them with the sharp point, okay? If you have sharp points on your scissors, you're going to accidentally cut your dog. Now, the best way I found is to use some kind of adhesive remover. This is Unisolve. It's an adhesive remover. It gets off tape and glue and that sort of thing. So what I usually will do is I'm going to go ahead and soak the tape here before I try to cut it off, and just let the tape, you know, have maybe, you know, 20-30 seconds to absorb this liquid. It'll usually loosen up, and then you'll be able to put your scissor right underneath it. You can cut away, and if you need to add more, you can start to add more as you bring this away. You don't want to be just ripping this tape off. You're going to take off a lot of hair. You can have hair that permanently comes in white if you damage the follicles too much, basically by waxing your dog. So I will always moisten my tape with some kind of adhesive remover. You can also use mineral oil in a pinch. The mineral oil will saturate. I mean, if you don't have mineral oil, go get some canola oil out of your pantry. That will also help kind of break down that tape to where you can start to bring it away. Okay, so there's several different products you can try. We want to use something that's gentle on his skin. So usually some kind of an oil based product is going to help loosen that tape so you can get the scissors in easily, cut it away, and it should just fall off of the ear. It should be really, really easy to come off. If you're fighting it, then you need to add a little bit more oil or adhesive remover.